Imagine for a moment you're in space. You meet up with friends in the space station, explore it, and meet three, technically four, NPCs that you dub Mom, Dad, and the Crazy Uncle. Sounds a bit familiar, right? Because if you change it to meeting up at the tower and space magic, you'd have Destiny. However, this is not Destiny. This is Astroneer's new game, Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions. A multiplayer game that allows you to explore the worlds with other people, solo or in a group. For the catch-all of this game, you join the ESS Starseeker crew to explore strange new worlds, work together with friends and strangers to complete planet-wide objectives before the station journeys to new planetary destinations in the perils of space through expeditions. When you first start the game, you have a beginning tutorial area where you get familiar with the controls, because a lot of them are not the same as Astroneer. A lot of things have changed. Once you learn the controls, you're then extracted back to the space station of the ESS Starseeker. Here's where our journey begins on understanding how different this game is compared to Astroneer. When you load in, you will have a basic outfit and color just like the people to my right here, and if you wish to change this, there is customization lockers that will have free stuff to start off that you start off with, so you can be just a bit different than the next person. We actually didn't discover this until roughly day 3 of playtesting, because at first all we saw was literally the store vending machine that has a giant pallet on top of it, and it's just literally a vending machine. There are a lot of customization options as well, so that way you can make your character very unique. My partner made himself look like a bird. He figured out how to rearrange certain things to make him look like he's got big giant googly eyes and a beak while also being orange. So in a sense, he kind of looked like a toucan, or I forget what those little birds are called. They're similar to a toucan, kind of, but not really. I basically went with the basics of making my character look like my exo female Titan character before I switched her over to being a male exo Titan character from Destiny. I can't help but compare the two because of how similar everything looks, how similar the whole place looks, and you know, Mom, Dad, and the crazy uncle, also with a crazy aunt afterwards. You know, if you play Destiny 2, you would know. There's just a lot of similarities between the games. Aside from customizing, you have the option to store items from things you earned or found off planet to be able to store them away so you don't lose them, and you have materials for being able to build and refine the materials later down the road. In the center of the station, there is a task board and a community board. The task board is for personal missions, things that will allow you to get mats, help level up your reputation for the NPCs of the space station, as well as just overall earn things for yourself. The community board is community objectives. This allows you and everybody else to submit tokens to be able to unlock either new areas, new planets, what have you. For our first community challenge though, it was like 70,000 tokens, and that was to unlock the other half of the world that we were on. But you can earn these tokens through your own personal task board missions, through just playing the game, or earning reputation. Across from this board though, this big giant board that has literally advertisements, so to speak, across the top of it, letting you know like your stance or other people's stats, as well as like how far you guys have gotten with your community challenge and stuff. There is the option to go off world, and this is how you would launch it, is through the other part of this. To the right or to the left, depending on where you go, or anywhere else in this station that has the option for them, there's printers as well as refiners, just like it was in Astroneer, to where you can print tools, print things that you need to be able to do your missions, and also to refine your material to make those said tools that you need. I will say too, aside from all of this, there is also a ball for reminiscing back on Destiny that makes noise that you can play with. There is also a dance floor that has music, like from Destiny 1, that you can also go and explore, which is by the crazy uncle known as Jambot in this game. And there is a news board, which was very confusing to find at the beginning because this is part of like your first onboarding quest. Whenever you get to the Starseeker, there is no quest marker for it at all because it was supposed to let you know like where it was at. You were supposed to go talk to everybody, and then that was like the last thing. So that way you knew like where, you know, you could get your news from for things that the game devs would have for you to let you know like what's been updated, etc., etc. Basically covers everything other than whenever you die, you do get reprinted, as is the respawning part of this game. So if you do die and there's nobody around you to revive you, or if you don't have any healing material such as like a medi stash or medi coolers or whatever the heck they called it, it was like medi something, I forget exactly the name of it. If you don't have any of those to revive yourself, then essentially you die, you lose all your stuff, everything that was on you, and you get teleported back to the space station and get reprinted. There's a lot of games that I have noticed literally within the past year or so that have gone with this meta of instead of respawning, you're getting reprinted. Your brain is being re-uploaded into a new body and all that stuff, kind of like with Marathon or with Arc Raiders, or I'm trying to think of other games off the top of my head. I think it's Helldivers and a few other ones. Basically most of like the extraction shooter games are the ones that are doing the reprinting. There is a few like single player games, but my brain is not remembering which ones they are at the moment, that have also done this. The time that you have is available on your bag, and once you run out of oxygen, you only have like less than a minute at most to get to wherever you need to before you die to get off planet. So be very aware of your time. They actually added a timer on the left hand corner whenever you open your inventory to show you how much time you have, and they also started updating it to where it would tell you on the right hand side, I believe it was, where how much time you had left in the game to before you had to extract. Anyways, that's the basis of the game. I do want to talk about my first impressions of this game, the good and the bad, and the bugs. Oh my god, the bugs. There was a lot of bugs. Like, there is some good to this game. Like, it is fun. It is to like help each other out. It is cool to explore like where this takes place and how far, if not how close, it is in relation to Astroneer. It was fun to like mess around with them, and then it was also fun to help them, especially like doing the field missions and things like that. That was fun. And then there's other enemies that was like really strong and stuff. Like, we were all working together to like take them down. It was nice. There's some good things about this. There's like ways that you can interact with other players, which is nice. And then there's a lot of funny stuff that happened too on the Starseeker, where they would basically be building a tower of Astroneer people. Which was funny because when you're bored and there's somebody that's AFKing, you're just like, oh, time to go jump on their head, and then it takes everybody to make a tower until the person gets back. So I don't know, it was fun. I had fun once I had the glider, because we finally got the glider unlocked on the last day, sadly, because we didn't know like what we were looking for, and then we realized it was some stuff from the field missions. But there is some good out of this. There is a lot of improvement from Astroneer. The graphics are better. It doesn't look so janky. I mean, it's still pretty poly jankiness, but which you can tell is Astroneer, but it's a lot more cleaner than it was then. And there's a lot more that it feels more stable than the original Astroneer game. I don't know how else to really describe that. There was a lot of annoyances that I had with the game, and as for somebody who has played Astroneer, it's the same, but it is also extremely different from each other. There is a lot of things that they are going to have to change to make it playable to an extent. Like, it's not like it wasn't unplayable. It's just there was certain things that caused it to become an annoyance, as well as annoyingly to play. And it then became like unfun, because Astroneer It's basically, you can do it solo. You don't have to have anybody. You can go and do all these said things, but you can invite your friends to play with you. So up to like 4 people, I believe, if I remember correctly. And then with this game, you can do things solo, but you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna need help, and being able to have that option to, you know, ping other players or to be able to get revived by other players, it's a good thing, but at the same time it's a bad thing because everybody's going to be doing their own thing in the game unless you're like with a group, but mostly everybody's going to be doing their own thing. And if you need a revive and nobody's around you, well, you're SOL. You've basically lost all your stuff that you just got. And I've had this happen a few times doing some solo stuff just to see like how it would play, and it was not a great time. The basis of this game though is essentially it's an extraction shooter without the shooting. There is no way to kill things. There is no way to like really damage things. I understand that they're trying to keep this kind of like a kid-ish friendly while also keeping, you know, the physics of Astroneer alive to where they keep it to where it's somewhat realistic to an extent. You start off with like disposable tools, and I'm assuming that you're going to be able to like have them to where they're not disposable and that you'll be able to keep them permanently. But the only bad part about that is that if they break and you're off mission, you can't repair them, and you lose that ability to have them until you go back to the station to repair them. Or if you die, you lose said tools and you lost all that work that you just put into doing stuff. And maybe it can make it fun. I mean, it's just pixels in a game. It's my loot for now, but it could be somebody else's loot for later. But it doesn't kind of work like that, because once you die, that material is lost off your body, as well as nobody can pick up the stuff. Like where in Astroneer, when you died, a backpack with all your stuff was on it and you could go and pick up that backpack. And there's no option like that in the game for Astroneer Expeditions. I feel like they need that. So like say if you die, your partner or whoever is not around you, and they can go and pick up your stuff, or some random person can go and pick up your stuff, so they get materials. I can also see the bad in that too because of the tools and things like that, but they could make those tools like completely disappear to where whoever is picking up said backpack, if they ever add this to the game, they could like have it to where they can't pick up the tools, but they can pick up like the materials. So like compound, resin, hull material, debris, etc. Like they could pick up that, but they wouldn't be able to pick up like the tools and things like that. Another thing too is like if you do respawn and you're on a team, you, as far as I can tell, is you can't go down to the planet. It like teleports you to like a different station sometimes. At least that's what happened with me and Zombie a lot, and we would literally have to join each other because we were in 2 different stations, essentially like 2 different worlds, 2 different servers, which was annoying because at first you weren't able to actually see each other, and then they fixed it I think on day 2 or 3, and then we were able to see each other. But there was also things that just like didn't feel right for the game. Like this game is essentially just an extraction shooter, and I'm going to keep trying to hammer that because that's what it felt like to me. It didn't feel like Astroneer. Like it has the look, it has somewhat of the feel, but it feels more like an extraction shooter without the shooting for this game. This could completely change in the future on like my feelings and stuff, but for right now, for my first impressions, I'm concerned that this game will die very quickly because of the aspect that they're going for. I could be wrong, but it doesn't look good. It feels like it will die probably like a month after it releases. There's just things that's just I don't know about. So again, that's just a complaint, an annoyance, and something I hope they fix in the future. A lot of the bugs that we were dealing with was very annoying. Things that bugged the crap out of me. So as like an example, this is some of the bugs like we dealt with. There was UI bugs to where things would not be showing correctly on what you're choosing. There was things with like interacting with the ship itself, like the Starseeker, like anytime you accidentally drop something, you weren't able to pick it back up, and anybody who saw it could pick it up and take it from you, which was also very annoying. I lost so many medi stashes because of that. And then there was constant crashing at points in the middle of doing the missions, which was really annoying, and you would still lose almost everything almost all of the time. There's a few times I didn't, but most of the time I lost everything. I lost lost all my tools. I lost all the work I just grabbed so I could make more tools, etc. It was so annoying. Also, like when you were creating your character or whatever, you could start seeing visual bugs. So like with me, I was noticing like when I was walking around, my hair would basically define gravity instead of like sticking to like where it's supposed to stay, like on the back of my head, because that's where I wanted it. But yeah, there was a lot of like minute things that was annoying. There's no like little what are they called, little oxygen poles that you can go and grab oxygen to revitalize yourself so that way you don't run out of oxygen. They don't have that in this game. You're on a set time of how much oxygen you have, and you have that amount of time to get what materials, what things you're doing, what quests you're completing, what field missions you're doing, all within that time, and then to quickly to get back to a launch station, launch your ship and go. And that was annoying because it didn't feel like we had enough time to do anything at first. And then when we started having to prioritize, it felt more like a chore than being able to have fun in the game. There's a bug that we had. We literally fell through the ship when we were going to the second planet. There's a crash ship that you can go into for, you know, learning a little bit more about the lore, getting things, unlocking exo caches, etc. We both opened our map. We both fell through the station and we could not get out. We both quit the game hoping that would, you know, save our stuff that we just got, and it did not. There was no way that we could get out. We were running out of time. Every time that we would go do a field mission, it would bug out. Really annoying. Or we died and we lost whatever material we were getting because we didn't know how to interact with certain things like that. Some of this stuff is explained, some of this stuff isn't explained, and I don't know, it's a lot of trial and error. There's some things I wish that they would have had from Astroneer, like the ability to see like your cursor, or to see like where your multi-tool is actually picking up the material from, because all it is like a, I don't know how you would describe it, like an invisible force that you see pulling, and then you just see like things disappearing. Maybe that'll change in the future, but who knows. They're planning on releasing this game this year at some point. I don't know when, I just know at some point. But not all games are perfect when they first release. That's why a lot of beta tests are to break the game, essentially, so that way they can figure out if there's more things that need to be fixed before release. I think that's why they really haven't set like a time when this is going to be releasing, other than this year is all it says. And I think that's good for good measure, because yeah, there's a lot of caution around this. I hope the game does well, but they'll probably need like a backup plan to make it to where it's not live service for this, and make it just fully single player, or a way to play with friends that's not through the multiplayer portion of it. But again, we'll see. It feels like an upgrade, but at the same time it feels like a downgrade, especially with it being, like I said, so similar to like an extraction shooter. So I don't know. Like I said, I hope they take the feedback, the criticism, the constructive feedback, I should say, and try to figure out a way to make the game survivable, because if it's not, it's gonna end up like want to play it, but from time to time, not often. And I think that's where a lot of extraction shooters and live service games fail, is it's there for the moment, it's there for the hype, but then after a while it just starts to die off, and then what do you do? Shut down the game? Because that's where it seems like a lot of these are going. I hope they take the criticism well enough to help shape their game better, and I hope that there's more to it than what we experienced through the playtest, and I hope they do another playtest to maybe showcase more of the game. But again, we will see. First impressions overall, just generally impressed, but not too impressed. There is a lot of things I feel like needs to be fixed. There's a lot of things that could definitely be improved upon greatly, and I hope that they take the feedback that I have given them kind of seriously, because I know there's a few people like in the Discord that was also saying the same thing. If it becomes a game of just similar to like an extraction shooter without the shooting, how far can the game go, and how far will they take it to make it fun, and how long will it last? Editing Vamp here. I wanted to let you guys know that Starseeker has just been announced for early access in June, and there is a lot of details and things that I need to read over that I'm not going to read through right now. It looks hopeful. It looks like there is things that are going to be underway, things that are going to be improved upon, it and provide more information, as well as making it to where it's possibility of not gonna be basically what I was concerned about with this video. We'll see, but like I said, I haven't read any of this. I don't know what everything says. They do have a roadmap with this early access whenever it launches, and the next roughly 4 to 5 updates for the game, which is exciting to see. But again, it's one of those things of like, take everything I said with a grain of salt, because what I feel of how the game feels isn't necessarily a one size fits all. And I want you guys to critically think about that, because just because I say something feels like an extraction shooter doesn't necessarily mean that it is an extraction shooter. It was just one of my many concerns, and it looks like it might be getting addressed, especially with this early access and other things that are going to be happening in the game. You can check out this blog down below in the description, so that way you guys have it. Hopefully that everything that I said is coherent and not too rushed and everything else like that. Thank you all for watching, and if you want to see any other demos that I have played, it'll be on screen over here. Till next time, stay batty. Bye.